One of the essential elements of being an achiever is understanding the rules of the particular game that you're playing. Do you understand the rules in your game? Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And you know, every industry has its own parameters. What is acceptable and second nature in one place can be foreign or even frowned upon someplace else. To successfully climb that success ladder, the one that's in front of you, you gotta understand how that industry operates. What's appropriate, what's not appropriate, what pushes, success buttons, what gets praised, what gets criticized, what's considered a risk, what's considered a quick win. Understanding the rules of the game puts you in a position to break them somewhere down the road. And once you know how everybody is playing the game, then you can be more effective, and then you can become uniquely you and create your own style and achieve more. It's that particular style that sets you apart. But before you get to that position where you can meander from the rules, you first have to learn the basics of the rules. And I want to give you an example of that. I worked with a company called Copa. And Copa was a marketing firm for a very large insurance company, and you answer a blind ad, you go in, it's a sales management, that's what you're looking to do, is to become the manager of your own office. But we're selling, an insurance product, we're selling a retirement product. So if you want to be a manager in a Copa office, then you have to know how to sell the product. You also, as a manager, have to know how to attract, train, and motivate. And this company had a training system that was set up to give you the basics. And boy, did they give you the basics. They taught you how to sell, taught you how to give a tie down. What's a tie down? You can understand what I'm saying when I say tie down. Am I right on that? When you ask a question and the answer is yes, you're bringing the person from point A to point B by asking a series of logical questions where the answer is always in the affirmative. And you're getting your client to go like this, go like this, go like this. And then at the end, when you ask the big question, so how much do you want to set aside? Is somewhere between $10 a week and $100 a month, what's going to be a comfortable amount for you to set aside? And then they go, I could probably do $10 a week. Great, what's your middle name? And you start writing out the application. So they teach you how to do everything. And then from there, you also have to learn, if you're going to be the manager of an office, how to attract, how to recruit, and how to train other people. Hello, McFly, you got to understand the rules of the game. Well, let's talk about the sales aspect of it first. All right. What I used to do is they would give you a couple of leads, to give you like 2 or 3 leads, and to be very candid with you, most of the time, you'd go to that person's door, knock on the door, and nobody was home, or one person was home. You would never make a presentation, what we would call a sit. You would never make a presentation with just the husband and just the wife. You need both of them together, because one or the other is not going to make the decision. It's not going to stick. And even though they tell you it will, it won't. But I digress. Here's the point. Most of the time, the leads didn't pan out. So you had to develop the skill of knocking on doors and getting into somebody's house so you could sit at their kitchen table and sell them the product. On one of my days off, a lady that I would hang out with from time to time said to me, so let me see if I understand what you guys do for a living. You go out, you knock on somebody's door that you don't know, that you've never met, you somehow get into their house, you make sure that they have a checking account, you sit at the kitchen table, and you get them to write a check for somewhere between $40 and $100 after you speak to them for about 45 minutes to an hour. Is that what you do? I said, yeah, but we also ask for referrals. She goes, wow, I could never do that. Well, actually you could, all right? It's just a matter of wanting to do it very badly. But so you understand the rules of the game. Now, what I used to do is I would put a pencil behind my ear, and I would knock on the door, and people would come to the door. What happens when you go to the door? You go, yeah, what do you want? All right. Well, the reaction was the same back then. Yeah, what do you want? I said, well, I'm a school teacher in the area. I was a substitute school teacher. I'm a school teacher in the area, and the banks asked me to come by and find out if you did this, that, and the other thing. And they would say, well, we're not familiar with that. I said, well, you might have received the information in your checking account statement. You do have a checking account, don't you? All right. And one of the requirements was, in order to make the sale, is the people had to have a checking account because it was automatic deposit. You couldn't do it with a bill. You couldn't do it by paying cash. You had to have the checking account. So my point is, I took what they gave me, I took the basics that they gave me, and I added a nuance to it. I put the pencil behind my ear, I unhooked my tie, all right? Hey, I'm a school teacher in the area, all right? I was asked to do this, all right? So immediately what I'm doing is I'm letting the guard down that, you know, somebody as a prospect might have when somebody that they have never seen in their life comes and knocks on their door. Does that make sense? And I did the same thing when I was with the U.S. Olympic Committee as a fundraiser. I was the #1 fundraiser in, I think it was 1980. Won a television set, in fact, a big color TV at that time, which was somewhat of a nice prize. And I would just, you know, I'd have the pencil behind my ear. I'd say, you know, I'm one of the coaches for the basketball team, and I did it in the town where I was the coach so that people would say, yeah, I recognize you, coach, how you doing? All right, boom, that helped me get in. Now, there were other people that worked as fundraisers for the U.S. Olympic Committee, but what did I do? I took something that I had as an individual and used it to help me to get inside the house so that I could get these donations, so that people would, you know, hey, it's tax deductible, you get to go see a volleyball game and so on and so forth. But what gave me the credibility was, hey, I'm one of the basketball coaches at the high school. And what if I knocked on the door and there was a student from the high school and they go, hey, coach? Instant credibility. Instant credibility. And this town had a very strong sense of community. So my point is, if you want to excel in a particular endeavor, first understand the rules of the game, how it's played. Understand the techniques of sales. Understand, in my case, understand the techniques of sales. Understand, you know, the surroundings. Understand the community. And then figure out a way to put your personality involved and break those rules, your unique something that you can add that's going to help you. And you do it by trial and error. You do it by trial and error. When I worked with Copa and was starting to write a whole lot of business, the person that was the leader in California, now he was from the Los Angeles office, here I was in San Jose, he was the supervisor of my manager in San Jose, and he said, boy, this guy's writing a lot of business. So he says, I'm going to go up and see what he's doing. So he came up, flew up from LA to hop in the car with me and go knocking on doors. Now this is a guy that's making a lot of money, to see like, hey, what is this guy doing, so I could see it. And he told me later on, I mean later on we became, he became my boss when I became a manager. And he said to me, he says, you know, when I first went out to you, I told Bob Anderson, and Bob Anderson was, you know, the vice president of the company. I said, you should have seen it. I went out with this guy, and he puts a pencil behind his ear, and he goes out and he talks and he explains that he's a teacher, and he gets into the house, and he just does it like a teacher and just real comfortable. So once again, you take the basics and you add your little nuances to it that are going to put you over the top. So understand the rules of the game means that one day you can break those rules. Does that make sense? And when I think about that, and especially now we're in the football season, can you think of anybody that understands the rules of the game and actually breaks them more than Bill Belichick, the coach of the New England Patriots? Just a small aside, okay? And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's get out there, know the rules, break them, and charge! I'm Eli's dad.